Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News fans. Here is a fact-based summary of the story contents. Here is a simplified version of the story contents. Here is a lighthearted take on the story contents. The Bachelor Season 29 winner, Juliana Pasquarosa, responded to fellow contestant Sofia's shocking rant about her after she and Grant Ellis announced the end of their engagement on June 13, 2025. Grant and Juliana got engaged at the end of The Bachelor Season 29, after his tumultuous relationship with Carolina. During the show, Juliana took issue with Carolina's concerns about getting engaged to Grant so quickly, and she also accused Carolina of not appreciating her one-on-one date with him. The Bachelor Season 29 winner, Juliana Pasquarosa, responded to fellow contestant Sofia's shocking rant about her after she and Grant Ellis announced the end of their engagement on June 13, 2025. In a June 14 TikTok video, Carolina unleashed a slew of opinions about Juliana, accusing her of wanting to win The Bachelor more than she desired to connect with Grant. She also implied that if Juliana hadn't won the show, her edit would have been very different. Carolina alleged that Juliana never apologized to her for her actions during the show, even though some of the other women did. She also revealed that she didn't think that Juliana and Grant would last, and she doesn't care if she's made out to be the villain because people were awful to her. In a statement to Us Weekly, Juliana responded to Carolina's rant, saying, "Carolina's comments aren't surprising. This feels like an attempt to turn our breakup into engagement. That's her choice. As for me, I'm not interested in going back and forth. Eye for an eye isn't my vibe." What Juliana Pasquarosa's response to Sofia means. Juliana's response to Carolina means that she's most likely exhausted from dealing with the fallout of the end of her and Grant's engagement, and she doesn't have the energy to fight with Carolina on top of that. She feels that Carolina is using her breakup with Grant to get TikTok views, but she doesn't seem surprised by it. This means that Juliana and Carolina aren't friends. Juliana's refusal to argue with Carolina means that she's not going to retaliate against her by attacking her or revealing any unknown behind-the-scenes information about her. Carolina and Juliana should stop arguing publicly. Although I've always understood Carolina's frustration with being portrayed as one of The Bachelor Season 29's villains, especially because she was unable to confront Juliana during the Women Tell All episode when Juliana made it to the finale, I think she'd be better off staying quiet now about Juliana and Grant's breakup. She said what she wanted to say, and now she should stop speaking about it and be respectful of them. In her statement about the breakup, Juliana asked people to be kind, and Carolina isn't doing that right now. However, she believes that her actions are justified because of how Juliana treated her. Perhaps it would be better if Carolina and Juliana settled their differences privately, because it's difficult to watch two grown women shading each other publicly. I think that they both believe that their points are valid, and they want their voices to be heard, but they're ruining their images by appearing petty. I think that Carolina and Juliana should both move on from their experiences with The Bachelor now, and I wish Pasquarosa hadn't even had her coffee yet when her phone buzzed with the kind of intensity that screamed Bachelor Nation disaster. She was sitting on her apartment balcony in West Hollywood, wrapped in a silk robe, and trying to enjoy a quiet morning with her rescue dog, Biscotti, when the notifications began piling in. Mentions, tags, DMs, her name was trending, and not in a good way. At first, she figured it was another fabricated breakup rumor involving her and Grant Ellis. The media loved speculating, especially since the engagement had ended just weeks earlier, and neither of them had spoken publicly about it. But this was different. As she scrolled through the flood of Twitter posts and Instagram stories, one name kept popping up alongside hers: Sofia. Carolina. Juliana blinked twice before clicking the now viral TikTok video that had turned the Bachelor fandom upside down overnight. She tapped it and almost dropped her phone. Chapter 2. The Rant Heard Around the World. Carolina Sofia wasn't known for subtlety. During her time on The Bachelor, she captured fans' attention with her spicy confessional moments and fierce side eyes. She had a cult following who celebrated her as the girl who kept it real. But this time, she wasn't just being real, she was being ruthless. "Listen, I didn't want to say this," Carolina began in the now infamous clip. But watching Juliana these past few months, watching how she's been parading herself around like she's some kind of victim princess after everything that went down with Grant, I've had enough. Juliana's jaw dropped. She played the long game, y'all. She always knew how to work that sweet girl act. I saw the way she'd flip the switch when the cameras stopped rolling. I'm not saying she's a bad person, but don't be fooled. Grant didn't leave because he was confused. He left because he finally saw her for who she really is. There was more. She used Grant to catapult herself into this influencer era. Now she's acting all shocked that it didn't work out. Girl, please, don't come crying now. The video had over 2 million views in 6 hours. Chapter 3. Juliana breaks her silence. Juliana didn't like confrontation. That much was obvious during her run on The Bachelor. But this wasn't a misunderstanding or a minor jab. This was character assassination, broadcasted to millions of followers. She stared at her phone for hours, composing and deleting messages, rewatching the video until her stomach turned. Eventually, she clicked record on her Instagram story. The lighting was soft. Her voice was calm but firm. "I didn't want to respond to this, but I can't stay silent anymore." She took a breath. "I was hurt when my engagement ended. I still am. But I never spoke badly about Carolina, not even once. So for her to twist things, to paint this narrative that I somehow manipulated Grant or played people for fame, it's heartbreaking." She paused, visibly holding back emotion. "The truth is, I loved Grant. Maybe more than I should have, and I never pretended to be anything I wasn't." Then came the mic drop. "If being kind and quiet made me an easy target, fine. But I'd rather be underestimated than be someone who tears other women down for clout." The video ended. It went up, and within minutes, the internet exploded. Chapter 4. Bachelor Nation Takes Sides. The hashtags began immediately. Hashtag Team Juliana. Hashtag Carolina called it. Hashtag Bachelor Beef. Hashtag Manger Lenergy. Reddit threads were ablaze. Bachelor podcasts canceled their regular interviews to break down the drama. TikTok creators were making side-by-side reaction videos, analyzing body language and tone like they were forensic experts. Fans dissected every detail. Some claimed Carolina's rant came from jealousy, that she'd been secretly eyeing Grant herself. Others defended her, saying she was just speaking her truth after months of watching Juliana curate her post-Bachelor image. Even former contestants started weighing in. Licia Garib posted a cryptic tweet. "Some people wear halos just to hide their horns." Fans weren't sure if she meant Juliana or Carolina. Grant Ellis, silent, as always. Chapter 5. The Unexpected Phone Call. 3 days later, Juliana's manager called with a proposal. "Carolina wants to talk." On camera, a sit-down, just the two of you. Mediated. Bachelor Nation will eat this up. Juliana laughed out loud. "You think I'm going to sit in a room with someone who publicly attacked me for attention? It's your narrative, Jules. Either you control it, or they will." An hour later, she agreed, begrudgingly. Chapter 6. The Showdown. The studio was set like a neutral battlefield, a single couch. 2 chairs, a white backdrop with a soft pink glow, as if that could mask the tension. Juliana entered first, composed in a cream power suit. Carolina followed in a fiery red dress, unapologetic as ever. There was no host, just them. Carolina started. "I never expected my words to blow up like that." Juliana raised an eyebrow. "But you meant them. I meant some of them. Not everything came out the way I intended. I was hurt, Jules. Hurt by what? I didn't take anything from you. You took everything, Carolina snapped. The attention, the storyline, the sympathy. And you knew Grant wasn't ready. You knew, and you still pushed for a ring. Juliana's expression hardened. I didn't push for anything. I wanted love, not fame. If I wanted followers, I'd have aired our text messages after the show wrapped. Carolina looked momentarily stunned. Oh yeah, Juliana continued. I didn't, because I had respect. Even when I was being talked about like I'm some kind of puppet master. Carolina's voice softened. I felt invisible next to you. Juliana stared for a long moment. Then maybe your issue was never with me. Chapter 7. Closure? After the interview aired, the internet held its breath. To many, Juliana came out on top, measured, classy, and unshaken. Carolina looked fiery and passionate, but some believed she'd crossed a line. The final clip? A handshake that turned into an awkward hug. It wasn't a friendship, but maybe it was peace. Chapter 8. The truth behind the rant. A week later, Carolina posted a long message on Instagram. It's easy to judge when you're on the outside. I said things I thought were true, but I also said them from a place of pain. Watching Juliana rise while I felt stuck, yeah, it triggered me. That doesn't excuse my words, but it explains them. We were all part of a show, and sometimes we forget the cameras turn off, but the consequences don't. I wish Juliana peace, and I hope Bachelor Nation gives us all some grace. The comments were a mixed bag, but most thanked her for the vulnerability. Juliana didn't comment. She didn't have to. Chapter 9. New Beginnings. A month later, Juliana soft-launched a new podcast, Unscripted Hearts. The first episode, When Women Turn on Each Other. She didn't name Carolina. She didn't have to. Fans read between the lines, and they loved it. Juliana's brand skyrocketed. She landed a skincare partnership, a guest segment on Good Morning America, and a TEDx invite titled From Reality TV to Real Empowerment. Carolina took a different route, joining a new dating reality spin-off, Bachelor, Island Retreat, as one of the lead contestants. Chapter 10. Behind the Roses. It was never really about Grant. That's what both women realized, quietly in their own ways. It was about identity, respect, the spotlight they were all chasing, and what it revealed about who they truly were. Juliana didn't need to clap back anymore. Her piece was louder than any rant. And Carolina, maybe, just maybe, she was starting to understand the power of an apology. The end. But in Bachelor Nation, it never really ends, does it?